Today I really just want to have a bit of an overview of what we're doing tonight and help you guys to understand a vision for what it's all about and why Christmas at Wi Neera. First of all, I want to say, I think we're all aware that Christmas is a time where people are a little more open to the Christian message. It's a time of everybody, if you talk to people out in the community, people know Christmas is a special time. It's a time of peace and goodwill and giving and receiving of presents. Of course, kids get excited about Santa, and there's family gatherings and holidays, and it's a pretty awesome season, isn't it? Christmas, really, especially when you're growing up and all the excitement of everything. I think our responsibility as God's people and as part of His church in this community here is to help bring a God focus in the season, because it can get very secular and it can get to the point where actually the whole message and the whole reason and the foundation of what Christmas is all about can be lost. So we've got a responsibility, and that is to remind people that at the heart of all our celebrations, our Saviour was born. Jesus was born at Christmas. Of course, people can debate the time and all the rest of it, but that's the time when we celebrate and remember that Jesus was born. One of the ways that we've done this over the years we've run Christmas in the Park now, probably for about the past 20 odd years, 8 or 10 times. We've had events over at the was Te Kaupua, now Papahua, over at the camping ground area there, and it's sort of grown over the years. We actually haven't done this since 2019 because of COVID and the different things that have come up in between. But along with Christmas in the Park, as a church, we've done all sorts of other things around Christmas to help remind people that it's a significant time of the year. We've had our Christmas food drive that the food bank has run. And Marion's been working with that. We've given away Christmas cakes. 2 or 3 years ago, we went right around the community and we gave away Christmas cakes and scorched almonds. We went to probably not every home in Raglan, but we went to as many as we could. We covered most of Raglan, just simply to bless people at Christmas. We've had a kids' colouring competition, and remember the big Christmas tree we had down outside the food bank on the lawn there, and with lights and a star and all the rest of it. That the food bank have given away Christmas hampers at Christmas to families in need. We've had Christmas carol services here. We've had our Christmas Day services at Tiuku. We've had signs up advertising all those sort of things. And remember last year we had a special one here where we had a table set up and we had a big lunch. And we had lots of different ones from the community come. We had a Christmas celebration meal after the carol service right here. It's easy to sort of move on and forget some of the things that we've done, isn't it? But the reason that we've done all of these different things is simply to lift the profile and the significance of the season that we're in, and to remind people that Christmas is the time when Jesus was born. When God stepped into the world and actually shifted and changed things for eternity. It was like the beginning of the reclaiming of the damage that Adam and Eve had done right back at the beginning when they rebelled and sinned. It's like God stepped in to start putting everything back into right relationship and right order again, like Alan was talking about. Another thing I want to mention actually that's happening this year that some of you may not be aware of is that Jean Botting, where's Jean? Oh, there's Jean. Jean's down at the library at the moment in the council building there, and she's got a hospice Christmas tree set up. And it's an opportunity for people that have lost loved ones, particularly over the past year, but even at any time. And I think the reality is that sometimes Christmas can be quite a difficult time for people if their families have been broken, if they've lost loved ones, if there's issues and problems and sickness and all the rest of it. Sometimes at Christmas, when it should be a time of joy and celebration, can be a really hard time for some people. And so what Jean is doing is she's actually reaching out to people that are struggling a little bit in the season with loved ones that have passed on. And there's an opportunity there to write a little message to them and write their name out. And I think that's finishing this Friday. And there's going to be, she's asked me to pray over all the people that have written out stuff there. And I think it's going to be all taken into hospice. And so there's a process happening around all of that. Just so you guys are aware that there's all sorts of things that people do, as well as each of us just showing a little bit of love and care to the neighbours and the people around us as we go through this season. But today, why Christmas at Wi Neera rather than Christmas in the park, which we've done, so many other times in the past. We wanted to, we wanted to change it a little bit. I think what's happened over the years is that our budget for Christmas in the park, especially when we've had, guys like Stan Walker, and we're in a big space, there's a lot of expense around all what we've done, and it's just grown and grown and grown. It's been awesome, and it's been a really powerful, special time. But I think we're realising that we're living in a season right now where there's a little bit of financial pressure, and for us to be going around to all the businesses asking for sponsorship, because most of it actually is covered by sponsors from the community, and of course the church backs that as well. But there's lots of people that help with this financially. We just felt, hey, this is not a year to be going around knocking on the doors of all the businesses and expecting them to contribute when some of them are actually really struggling already, and it would be difficult for them to say no. So we've come up with a simpler program, and actually programs are available. Have we got that on screen, just so that people can get a little bit of an idea? We've got sound checks and different things happening. 5 p.m. the gates are open. There's going to be stuff for the kids, bouncy castle and so on. There's 5:15. We're going to let people know what's happening, and the official start at 5:30 p.m. We've got some of we've got the local kaumatua, Sean Ellison, and our local councillor, Lisa Thompson. They're both happy to come along and speak and just sort of give us their blessing, which is quite significant. We've got the Raglan Area School Kapahaka group. We've got the other thing that from about 6 o'clock onwards, we've got 400 hungy meals that we're giving away. So don't have dinner before you come along. And also, Leonard is sponsoring. We've got 500 sausages are going to be cooked on the barbecue there. So we're going to be able to give away quite a lot of food tonight. And it's just a way of really blessing people. And I think that's going to be quite a significant, awesome part of what we're doing. And then we've got the Trenwith Bluegrass Band, and that's awesome. We're really looking forward to that. That'll just really liven the place up and bring a bit of, that's an awesome group there. And then we've got spot prizes and things, and the kids item. We're going to have the Surfside Kids are doing an item on stage, about Christmas, and bring that focus. And then we've got carols and a spot prize, and then we've got Santa. Got a few surprises around Santa. I mean, in the past, he's come in all different ways in a boat, and then he's parachuted in, and he come in by helicopter. So it's going to be interesting just to see how Santa arrives tonight. So look out for that one. So what else have we got? And as we get later into the evening, we've got carols, and then we've got late 80s Mercedes music band. They'll be awesome. And then we'll be closing around 8:30 with the national anthem and so on, and a closing prayer. So the whole evening is going to be it's going to be like a community church service, really. Our goal is just to really bless Raglan. So that gives you a bit of an idea. Our program, believe it or not, is considerably simpler than what it has been in the past, and probably a little bit shorter. And with a little bit more, it'll have the same amount of Christian content, but it will be a little bit more obvious because there won't be so much other stuff with it. So that really it's going to be more Christian content. And I think if we were on the same site as we have been in the past, at the Papahua domain, there would be a certain expectation from the community around that it would be similar to what we've done in the past. And it's going to be a bit smaller and a bit different. And so we were praying and wondering about where could we do this. And we thought we want to really be downtown. Right, we could go out on someone's farm, and probably most people wouldn't find us there. We could go out to the bush park, and we've done that before, and that's awesome out there, but people are a bit shy to go out into a space like that. So we wanted to get a space as much as possible in the heart of Raglan, where there's a bit of parking around, and so we've chosen that area off Wi Neera Street, between the library and the backpackers. There's like a big parking area there. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've done there. But just so you guys are aware, this is a historically significant place. And this is one of the reasons why, for me, I think it's quite important that we actually are there. This is where the Maori chief, Wi Neera, and believe it or not, that's his European name, when he got baptised, and when he got baptised, he changed his name to William Naylor. And so the Maori pronunciation of that is Wi Neera, or Wiramu Neera. But his full name is Te Wataia, something like that anyway. And where we are having our event is right where he lived. That's where his house was. And actually we've got a photo of this chief. There he is. Wiramu Neera, Te Wataia. And as I'm going to explain to you, he was a very significant leader in this community in the early days. He was, you'll see in his hand, he's got that taiaha, and he was a very strong warrior, a chief, Maori chief, but he was also a very influential man. He fought battles all the way from right down into Taranaki. He was all over the Waikato, South Waikato, and right over this area in the early 1800s. So he was a very strong guy, strong leader, looked up to by a lot of people. On the 17th of January 1836, he became a Christian, and he was baptised by Reverend James Wallace. And his life changed. Instead of being a brutal man that was out fighting and killing people, which is what he had been doing up until that time, he adopted a new lifestyle. He even presented his taiaha, his weapon, to James Wallace as a symbolic sign that actually his life had changed. And as I mentioned earlier, he adopted a new name, Wi Neera. And he went on to build the first church ever built in Whangaroa, Raglan. And it's just across the water from where we are. It's only a few hundred metres from where we are right now, where that first church was. And it wasn't just a small little building. It was a church that could accommodate several hundred people. And regularly they had 400 or 500 people in church every week back in the 1800s. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Now here we are. We think we're doing pretty well. But back then the local population, I'm sure, would have been much smaller. And I suggest we've got a little way to go to catch up with the influence of Te Wataia and James Wallace and what they were doing together as they worked together in this community. As I said earlier, this chief, Te Wataia, was a very influential man. He was a signatory to the Treaty of Waitangi, and he, on the 11th of April 1840, up at Port Waikato, he signed the Treaty of Waitangi. He was involved in a lot of high-level things with government and also the tribal leaders in the Waikato. He was considered probably the most prominent Maori leader in the Waikato during his time. And he had several meetings with people like Governor George Grey, who actually attended his funeral across here at Papahua. In 1863, when the Waikato was invaded by the British troops, Te Waitaia refused to bear arms. And you would think that perhaps this area would have been overrun because they weren't going to fight the battle. But actually the opposite happened. And because of his authority and status, there was no warfare in his tribal area of Whangaroa. And actually his area, and I'm not quite sure, it covered a huge area. It was right down the west coast from Port Waikato, right down to Kawhia, and across to the Waipa River, and up to Ngarawahia, and then across. So there's a huge area that he was actually the chief over, along with a couple of other guys. And so one man's influence meant that the people in that region did not have to face war during that time that was really tumultuous for the whole nation, with Rangariri and over on the east coast and so on. So his authority and his status was enough to ensure that there was no warfare in this area. At one particular meeting in 1857, which was up near Rangariri at a place called Paitai, and I think it's probably on a marae, this chief, Wi Neera Te Waitaia, spoke so powerfully that after his speech, there was absolute silence on the marae for over half an hour. In the historical records, it tells us that that was because of his mana. I think as a Christian, what that suggests to me is that he had a powerful anointing on his life. He had a spiritual authority. It's interesting that his house, we'll have a photo of that. That house there is pretty, they think it's just in behind the library. It was pretty much in the middle of the space where we're meeting tonight. And obviously that was in the 1800s. He built quite a nice weatherboard house. That monument in front there was put up just after he died. It has actually since been shifted over to Papahua, where he was buried. It was shifted there in the 1980s at the request of the Ngāti Mahanga, his tribe. So it's still there, but it's been shifted to a different place. And if you ever get the chance to look, read some of the historical little things around the communities, little boards, and there's especially, I went over to his graveside, and there's some really interesting stuff there about the history, about the guy, about the fact that he was a Christian, that he was a friend of the Europeans, that he was such a man of influence. And so some of the information that I'm telling you is actually written up over there, and that monument is there alongside his gravesite. So that house up there is where he lived, but it was also a place, it also became the local courthouse. And when Wi Neera Te Waitaia, when he wanted to hold court, he would put the flag up, and people would come along and they would have their disputes resolved. And often that was between Maori and Pākehā, and because he was a man that everyone respected, both sides would listen and he would sort things out. And so he was the local magistrate. And his motto that he had written up in his courthouse there was justice with compassion. So it's a pretty good motto, isn't it, that he had. So there's some interesting history around the guy and around the place where we're going to be tonight. Just to give you a little bit of an overview. And there's a significant Christian heritage on that site. And that man was such a blessing to this community and the relationships and the unity that he brought and the work that he did, not only in the Waikato but also in the government level and right across the nation. A lot of that began right here. Sadly, much of the spirit that he carried and the good work that he did and the blessing that he brought has been lost over the last 150 odd years. That area is now leasehold land. It is administered by the Waikato District Council, and the leases are owned by a consortium of local business people. You're aware there's lots of shops and businesses operating around that area, including the yacht club. And the other thing, just so that we're aware, is the Ngāti Mahanga tribe, that's Wi Neera's tribe, have currently, the iwi, have a treaty claim on that whole area. And so what I think has happened over the last 150 years is that the devil has tried to shut down the blessing and the goodness and the grace of God and the Spirit of God that was on that area and this community. It's become like a bit of a melting pot of ungodliness. And actually it has become one of the most spiritually challenging areas in Raglan, in my opinion. If you go down there, it's okay, but I think it could change for a lot of good. I just want to say to you guys that as we go down there, we need to tread carefully. We need to be aware of all the things that have gone on in the past. We need to be aware of the issues around it now. And we're not going to make any sort of political statement or take sides or solve anything in the natural. We're going down there to serve in humility and to bless. And I believe if we can do it in the right spirit, we're going to potentially see quite a shift. And my goal is that we, as a church and as a people that live here, we go down into that space to reclaim a lost heritage. That's my prayer. That's been our prayer. And I believe that if we do this in the right spirit, it could be actually a key to releasing the blessing of God for our whole community. I think what happens is that in the spirit, there's spiritual forces over areas and things get locked up and things get bound up, and it actually can put a brake on the work of God for the whole community. And I think that's potentially what's happened in that space. The devil has turned it from a place of blessing into the opposite. Not surprisingly, we've had a few challenges as we've been preparing for this. We've been working on this for several months. We haven't talked about it much because we haven't been sure that it would actually happen. But bit by bit, the pieces have come together, and almost quite miraculously, I think God is saying, this is time, guys, to step into that space and to reclaim it for the Lord. And of course, one of the challenges, not least, has been the fact that a week ago, it was going to be fine right through, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And of course, about 3 or 4 days ago, a little front appeared, and over the last 3 days, there's been rain forecast between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. The very time that we have put down that we're going to be there from 5 p.m. So the battle's on, guys. And we've been praying, and I just encourage you guys to keep praying. One thing we have done down there, which I think has brought a shift, is we've cleaned up the area. It's like a big parking area for the businesses down there. The grass has just grown rank. There's been people have put all their rubbish out there. There was a great big pile of rubbish. Kane actually helped me. Kane and I have been down there, and we've taken away about 5 truckloads of burnable rubbish. Some of them pretty big loads. Kane had them all tied on, and we managed to get home without too much of it falling off. And we've also taken off a load of glass and all sorts of other stuff that's been down there. And as well as cleaning up the site and getting rid of all the rubbish, Trevor has been down there for the last couple of months, every week, weed eating and mowing the site. And I tell you what, just the fact that we've been willing to go in and serve and help clean up the site, the owners of the place have actually been so helpful. And they've been amazed, and they've been saying, "Oh, great guys, what can we do?" And we've got access through the gate. There's a special little thing. Dean's got a little clicker there, and they've shifted stuff, and what can we do next? And they've had their people helping with the cleaning up as well. And we've also had the businesses around there. Some of the business people, they're not parking there today, because we're there. But instead of being grumpy, they're saying, "Oh, great, you guys going to keep mowing the place? keep it tidy? We're loving this." So we've had some really good encouragement from people that we sort of least expected from, really. But I think it's because we've been willing just to serve and to help and to do whatever's needed. Tonight, as I said, is going to be a God-centered Christmas event with a local kaumatua and counsellor, the Raglan Kapahaka group, and all the other things that we talked about. But our overall goal is simply to bring the blessing and the presence and the peace of God into the heart of our community, right into an area that has actually been less than peaceful now for quite a long time. And if you live in probably half of Raglan, you would know all about the stuff that happens down there and the noise from the yacht club and all the rest of it. Let's believe that we're going to take the Holy Spirit with us tonight as we go. And we're going to reclaim that lost heritage. I just want to finish with a Bible verse today. After Lazarus had died, Lazarus and Mary and Martha were a great family. They were friends to Jesus. Jesus would go and stay at their house, and it was a place of blessing. They were people that really blessed the ministry of Jesus. And then Lazarus died. It looked like the whole thing was over. And Martha was talking to Jesus and saying, "It was too late. He's died 3 days ago." And John chapter 11, verse 25, Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life." And Lazarus walked out of the grave, didn't he? Jesus is in the business of bringing dead things to life again. So that's what I'm believing for our community. There was life here. There was a spiritual, it was like a revival across this community, which has been lost. I'm believing that Jesus is going to bring that back to life. You guys with me on this? Okay. Well, tonight, be there. Be in prayer. You might want to join the prayer team. Even if you can't be there at 4, we can just quietly be praying for the weather, that it'll hold off. And come along and bring your family.